What's going on, guys? SmartHelping.com here. We're going to go over a cash flow waterfall distribution model. It's for any joint venture of any endeavor, and you simply. So I've done this template and a lot of other builds as an add-on at the end that flows to it. But if you just want to use this standalone, you would have to make modifications. So I've made the modifications, so it's just this is a standalone version now that'll be available. I'll put it in the joint venture bundle at smarthelping.com, as well as you can buy it separately as well for $45. The logic here is very important. If you're in finance whatsoever in any capacity, especially in real estate or oil and gas, but in general, you should understand what is going on here. And logic is not easy, but once you understand it, it makes a lot of sense, and I'll explain why this is even used in joint ventures whatsoever. But this is like the base way most joint ventures are structured, and you can do a lot with this. You can do hard preferred equity, soft pref, pari passu, and then go forward with your splits, promoting the GP. But I'm going to explain an example to make it more easier to understand. So let's say I'm a developer or an operator and I'm going to run this business, but I need money. So I'm going to go to some investors, aka the LP, and say, look, I need, in this case, $5 million. Can you as an LP come up with, usually this number's high, let's say 90% of that, and I'll come up with the other 10%. And so I do all the work as a general partner. The LP does nothing but write a check. Now what this model says is the first hurdle rate, a lot of people think of it as a pref, I guess you can. Means up to a 10% internal rate of return, meaning the LP gets 10%, an annualized 10% return compounded, and that includes getting their initial equity back. And what this says is until that happens at whatever point in the future, depending on what the distributions are, the cash is split on this first hurdle rate. And if it's a hard pref, you could say 100% is zero. And that means even though the GP put in 10, LP put in 90, the LP is saying, until I get a 10% return, I want all of the cash that's available to be distributed, 100% of it. Or you could do pari passu and make it 90-10, and then it's just you get out up to the LP getting their 10% return. The cash is split in accordance with how it was contributed, so that's pari passu. Or it could be something else. It could be 95-5, whatever. It depends on the deal, but the point is, this is a way for the GP to say, look, I need a lot of money, a lot of proportion of the money, but in return, I'm going to do all the work, and I'm going to give, if I give you upside as the LP, I'm going to take more of the cash. So, for example, if I've now returned up to 10% to the LP, they get 95% of the cash. They now got their 10% return. From 10 to 15%, or whatever this number is that you put in here for the second hurdle, now, as a GP, I'm going to say, I'm going to take more of the cash now. I want 25% of the available cash, and I'll give you 75%. So it creates an incentive for the GP to make better returns for the LP, because the GP then gets more of the cash. And the LP's happy because they're getting a higher return, and they want the highest return possible. And so that's just the basic structure of how this works. There's three hurdles. 10 to up to 10%, cash is split this way. From 10 to 15, it's split the second hurdle. From 15 to 20, it's split this way, and then above 20 is split in this final rate. These rates are not standardized. Obviously, they're going to change depending on the environment and the deal and everything. All you have to do as a user of this is put in, here's the contributions of cash. So based on whatever contributions are required, this is how much LP is going to contribute. This is how much GP is going to contribute. Then you put in your hurdle rates. You put in the cash splits at each hurdle. And you put in the distributable contribution and distributions of cash required in each period, 0 to 10. That's it. And then this does all the logic. It does, here's everything for tier 1, split out very cleanly. Here's tier 2, tier 3, if you get there, and then thereafter. And then at the bottom is a consolidated view of how much is being distributed at each tier, and the aggregate total going to the LP versus the GP. And usually in this case, if it goes well, that the GP is going to have a higher IRR, but the reason why they get more or a higher rate is because that's like their compensation for doing all the work, even though they're not contributing much capital. They're doing, running the business, handling all the logistics, making things go, and the LP is just writing a check. So this is a very highly effective way to incentivize the GPs to do good. It's a win-win for everybody. If you never get to 10% for the LP, then they kind of are ensuring that they at least get all the cash that does come out of this. If it's a hard pref at 100-0 or however it's structured. I did do a final summary that shows the internal rate of return and equity multiple for the LP and GP. This is just a running cash position. This is a cash flow per period. I also did a visualization for the cash position and cash flow for the LP and GP. So again, I'm happy about this template. I've been meaning to do it for a while, but this is now a standalone, so you can just use this as it is. It's also included in like all the JV joint venture real estate models I've done in the past and some other stuff. I think I put it in the mobile home park as well. But all those instances, you would have to take it out if you wanted to just use this portion of the logic. You would have to make some modifications. So I've already done all the updates to the formulas and made it so you can just use this standalone. All right, that's all I got for you this morning. I will see you guys probably streaming on Monday at 10 a.m. EST. We're working on what model? Oh, a franchise or licensee model. So we'll keep going on that, and I'll see you then.